As far as the correctional system goes, Sweden has two kinds of facilities, closed and open institutions. And even before a criminal has to be imprisoned, so to speak, if those words can be used, they get to go through several instances of treatment for their behavior. Youth offenders usually get sentenced to care under the social services, and before an adult gets sentenced to prison, there's also something called the free care, an extensive probation program. Only a minority of offenders actually serve so-called prison time. This procedure is notoriously absent when it comes to hate speech, on the other hand. Christian minister Åke Gren was sentenced to prison right away without having a criminal record. If sentenced to prison, paragraph 7 of the law on treatment of offenders stipulates that an inmate should be put in an open institution if possible, with only hardened criminals going to actual prisons. Open institutions are called open specifically because the institutions aren't locked. Inmates are free to wander outside in the nearby area, only having to return at night. There are not even any walls. Closed institutions vaguely resemble prisons in other countries, except for them appearing to be more like schools with fences. Inside, they're very similar to student dormitories, and inmates have it quite comfortable living there, one person per room. They usually have their own TV sets, as well as game consoles like Xboxes and such. You'd be hard-pressed to be able to tell from inside that you're in prison. It's so comfortable in Swedish prisons that some foreigners come here with the specific intent of getting imprisoned. The man in this newspaper article killed a 79-year-old man right away after he entered Sweden to get sentenced for murder. At first glance, you might not even realize that this yellow building is actually a prison, what's known as an open institution. Stepping inside, we see a cell with a nice view. It may be a bit hard figuring out what makes this a prison. Perhaps it's the fact that the occupant doesn't own the place and doesn't need to have to rent it. It's provided for him by the government, hence he doesn't have to worry about being evicted for not paying his rent. Here the prisoners are offered work and education with personal tutors so that they really get a message from society that crime is bad. Policy prescribes that the doors to the institution should be open, though if the prisoner was to run away, he'd face the prospect of having to support himself, hence there is no real incentive to escape. The prison isn't all a garden of roses, however. The inmates actually have to do their own cooking, though they are spared the chore of buying groceries. We now leave the prison, knowing that Swedes are kept safe from these offenders, confident in our belief that crime doesn't pay in this country. Gross as it may sound, in Sweden you can actually apply for a specific institution and usually get your request if it's not full. Inmates usually exchange advice on which institution to go to, much like people apply for colleges. The following are people doing just that on an internet forum. I need advice on good open institutions, preferably with good studying options. Asptuna, they got jacuzzi and swimming pool there. Apply to Skenäs, an open institution in Östergötland. Workshop, woodwork, jogging track, soccer field, bathing bridge. Sätilla is soft, good food, decent gym, barbecue nights. Easy to get cell phone inside. I've been to Skenäs for half a year or so. It's a perfectly okay institution. All sections have digital boxes. The jogging track rules. Also a popular place to bring liquor and other illegalities. How do you mean? Don't they have any searches? Exactly. They search your bags. I always kept my cell phone in my pocket. Bring your own TV if you've got one. They were short on those last time I was there. What the hell, don't you get a TV? So how do you go about bringing a TV? You're supposed to take it along when you enter? Exactly, or you can have visitors bring it. Anyone that's been to the institution Skenäs? Seriously, I effing want to go there. Hell, a couple of months would do me good. Rest from the ordinary grind at the same time as learning to weld and get paid for it. Since I live fairly close to Skenäs institution as well and love to fish, It would rule being able to slack for a few months there. Anyone have any advice on how to get in there? That is, as far as crime goes. Hello. A while ago I was arrested for aggravated assault and they found a bit of cocaine on me as well. What are the chances I'll spend my time in an open institution or a closed one? You'll probably get probation from being a first-timer. It's cool, fun to spend time, you'll get far less than you think. It's always that way. I got 40 days now for 5 different things, 2 assaults on patrolmen. Don't worry, and you can apply to an open institution, you'll exercise, eat well, play table tennis, all that good life, so it's cool.
We're all going on a summer holiday, no more working for a week or two. Fun and laughter on a summer holiday, no more worries for me or you, for a week or two. We're going where the sun shines brightly, we're going where the sea is blue. We've seen it in the movies, now let's see if it's true. Everybody has a summer holiday, doing things they always wanted to. So we're going on a summer holiday to make our dreams come true. For me and you.
Paragraph 14 of the Law on the Treatment of Offenders says that an inmate should be provided with opportunity for adequate leisure activity. He should be encouraged to spend time with hobbies of his own that can contribute to his development. To the extent it is suitable, he should have opportunities to, through newspapers, radio and TV, follow what happens in the outside world. His need for recreation should be provided for to a reasonable extent. If it is suitable, an inmate should be given the opportunity to reside outside the institution to, in his spare time, take part in such sports activity or other similar activity meant to facilitate his adjustment to society. A recent court ruling established that even sex offenders have the right to pornography in their cells. Following this, the Chancellor of Justice criticized a prison for attempting to withhold pornography from a man serving an 8-year rape sentence. Compared to other Western countries, the cost for prisons in Sweden is extremely high, standing at $300 a day for closed institutions and $200 a day for open ones. In 1 year, that becomes $110,000 for a closed institution, to be compared with the average cost in the US, which is $24,000, or less than a quarter of the Swedish cost. British costs are quoted as being £28,500 or $42,000. In the American state of Texas, they've managed to squeeze the cost per inmate down to $15,000 per year. Unlike Swedes, Americans understand how to deal with criminals. American ingenuity has come up with such solutions as tent cities and chain gangs. Swedes, on the other hand, paid $300 a day per inmate to provide them with facilities like these. And during the 1990s, part of the treatment for youth offenders was sending them on sailing boats headed for the West Indies and other exotic places, outright joyrides.